start off here, we got to cover some of the stuff that you're probably more familiar with if you've been using Houdini for a little bit. And that's going to be the ways of using attributes to drive animation. So we're just going to take a quick look at some example for that. So I'm in the stage context here, so I'm just going to drop down a SOP create, and we can dive inside and we can start to lay this out. So I'm going to drop down a grid. It's just going to leave this as a 10 by 10. Then I'm going to do an extract centroid. And I'm going to change this not from pieces, but to primitives so that we have a point at the center of each one of those individual primitives. And then we can drop down a copy and transform. I'm going to set this up to 9. I'm going to translate this up so that we can have a cube of our points here. And then we can drop down a match size. And this is just going to center this in our scene. From there, we're going to take a box. And I'm going to keep this as is. And I'm going to drop down a poly bevel. After that, let's see what this gives us. So a simple box here. I'm going to set this to be like 0.08 with a few divisions. And that should give us a nice little rounded cube here. And then we can do a copy to points. And we can wire in our match size into that. So now if we look at this, we have basically a bunch of cubes here that are going to be aligned in this kind of grid-like pattern. So I can take our attribute noise. If I can type attribute noise, there we go. And this is going to allow us to control the scale of these. So if we set this to P scale, you can see that we start to get something here. And we just need to mess around with some of these different settings so that we can actually control this. We also don't want this to be a vector. We want this to be a float. And then we can start to play with this. So let's maybe crank up the amplitude a little bit. And then we can enable our remap ramp here, and we can play around with this. So let's maybe just bring this in a little bit just to give us a little bit more of some contrast here. I can also play around with the element size so that we get something that's not so harsh there. So something a little bit larger here. And then we can go to our animation and check that on. And this is going to make it so that we have some animation on our P scale. And this is kind of the basis of how we can do animation inside of Houdini. You can use this to create some kind of animation through our P scale or maybe some poly extrusion, things like that. So this is kind of like the basis of that. And we can play around with our pulse duration here. So stuff that's probably pretty familiar to you. You can also set a offset here, or we can animate the offset. So instead of just setting a keyframe, we can start to use some procedural techniques. So we'll do $FF, and then we can do something like, I don't know, 200 to give us a nice slow animation across this. So if I were to uncheck this, you can see we still get some animation here. And this honestly even is just fine, this little offset, but adding that extra layer of animation on there just gives you something a little bit nicer. So we can also check our minimum and maximum here so we don't go over this. So maybe we don't want them disappearing fully. So we can raise this up maybe a little bit. Now they will get to a certain size and then they will stop getting smaller at that point. And you can change your fractal if you want to. Whoops. You could set it to something different or just have none altogether. Whatever works. But that's the basis of using just simple attributes to create some animation, and you can start to layer in some things like using your frame number, or in this case, your floating frame, to give you some sort of animation on your points or on your attributes, and use those to drive different things inside of Houdini. In the next video, we're going to take a look at how we can start to use Vex to drive some different things. So let's take a look at how we can do that.